So I want to talk about the human wound of shame and its resolution, according to the Gene Keys teaching by my friend Richard Rudd. And that resolution is this beautiful word, universal love. It's such a beautiful, beautiful word, and a beautiful truth, that we are all loved by the life force. You can call that God, you can call that your soul, you can call that the angels. But basically, I like to use the Taoist definition, which is the life force. The life force has created this whole world that we find ourselves in, And for some reason, human beings are the only ones in this creation that feel this deep wound of shame. And it causes so much, how can we say, drama in the world, It's the root of greed. It's the root of selfishness. It's the root of everything, right? On some level, right? And so I want to explore this beautiful wound of shame, because it is beautiful. It's beautiful when it starts to unwind, when it starts to transform inside yourself. So on my journey with the Gene Keys, I've, been teaching them, sharing them, holding groups, and one of the things that's been very clear to me as we go through, this evolutionary journey of the Gene Keys and the profile is that we need to understand how the wounds manifest in our life, how they actually manifest for us on a very practical level, okay? So I've been thinking a lot about this. It's really been my obsession in a way, how to make the Gene Keys teachings more and more accessible for everyone, And so I've come up with this word to understand how shame manifests in you at the personality level, at your day-to-day level, so that when you see this starting to open up inside of you, in that moment, the wound of shame has been triggered. Okay, and that word is comparison. As soon as you see yourself comparing yourself to someone else, to an imagined better future than where you are now, right? So that's a very strong one. How that wound of shame manifests is that we project into the future and we say, sometime in the future, I'm going to be better than I am now, right? So the wound of shame manifests in humanity as this almost addiction to comparison. Okay, so whenever you see comparison show up in your consciousness, that wound of shame has been triggered within you. And that's the moment to not act on it, not believe it, not fall into a mental story around it. That's the moment to maybe lie down on your bed, put on the third seal, which is all about universal love, and then have a prayer, have a conscious prayer. Like, show me that I'm loved unconditionally by the life force, that I'm loved as I am right now, okay? Show me. Reveal to me the truth that everything in this existence is loved unconditionally. Very, very important, to unmask this wound of shame. And it will show up most obviously in the way you compare. Okay? Very deep understanding of how shame shows up through comparison. And it's such a subtle thing, it just comes up on us out of nowhere, right? It's very interesting. let me share something in my own unwinding of shame. And interestingly enough, this third seal, this universal love, the miracles it initiates are in money and family, right? Money and family. That means that when this seal, when this universal love starts to break through, collectively and individually within each of us, it's going to initiate miracles within your family and within your experience of money. So how does this comparison show up in money? So I'll tell you how it showed up in my life. When money would come in, I'd be very happy. I'd celebrate. I'd be like, yes, the money is here. And I've been self-employed my whole life, so I've had to unwind this whole journey with money, And then when it would go out, the fear, I'm spending the money I've saved. I would be in this place of, I could feel my heart closing down. I could feel my body going into that place, right? And I can honestly say that I don't feel that anymore. I don't feel like, super excited and validated when money comes in. And I'm not afraid or, like closing down my heart when money flows out. I just don't have that experience anymore. And that's really due to these beautiful teachings of the Gene Keys and my own personal practice of internal alchemy. And it's amazing as you start to dive into these principles, like the principle of universal love, right? You will be tested on that, right? You'll be things will come up, for you to really unwind that wound of shame, which manifests as comparison. Okay, and really important, you don't judge yourself for comparing. That's still the comparison. Okay, it's such a slippery slope. Okay, so the most important thing you can do is just when the comparison comes up, number one, you see it. You see it with absolute clarity. There's the wound of shame. It's manifesting as comparison. And you no longer let it go into your mental body, right? And make up a story about how one day you're going to be, perfect. One day the perfect life is going to come, And, you have to have real deep compassion for this longing for perfection, this longing for healing. Because that's really what shame is inviting us to do. It's inviting us to heal really deeply. This feeling that we're separate, right? The third line and the sixth line, they resonate with each other, right? So out of separation comes this wound of shame. So please try this. Whenever separation shows up, lie down on your bed, make a sincere prayer, listen to the third seal, and you have to ask sincerely from your heart. Excuse me. You have to ask sincerely. Show me that I'm loved just as I am. Just as I am. I don't have to put pressure on myself to attain something. There's such a relaxation in this. And the other beautiful thing about it is that it's actually a spiritual truth. You're aligning with a spiritual truth when you surrender to that. When you understand that you are loved at the most deepest possible level, that is beyond human understanding, really. Interestingly enough, the third line rules the mental body, right? So as you unwind this wound of shame and its manifestation as comparison, your mind will start to become much more relaxed and joyful, and the pressure will be gone from you. I promise you this, the pressure will be gone. The thing about these wounds is they show up as activity. They show up as activity, mental activity, emotional activity, physical activity, right? And these seals, all the gifts of the 25th gene key, acceptance, right? Acceptance of where you are right now as being absolutely perfect for who you are and for your journey. Okay. So we have to hold inside of ourselves this pressure, this comparison, and we have to understand it really deeply what it is. Right? It's the wound of shame, triggering in your personality, triggering in your mind, triggering in your emotional body. And that's the moment when you see this comparison. It's just, there I go. And your logical mind will give you all the reasons why you have to compare and why it's correct and why it's right. But I promise you it's not true. It's just not true. Lots of love, everyone. I hope all of you unwind the wound of shame inside of you.